Fam, what is good? Good morning. It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys joining me today. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I appreciate you guys more than you know being a part of this community right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Close to 100,000 subscribers. I'm going to take your calls today, and today is, of course, geared to National Signing Day. National Signing Day, which takes place now on December 20th, is a great time to see Alabama landing all the prospects, and this class is really shaping up to be really something special. So we're going to talk about the Signing Day preview today. I'm going to actually tweet out that the show is live, and then we will take your calls right here. 205-850-1994 is the call-in line number. Sharon, what's up? I appreciate you becoming a member of our channel. Pete Golden, what's going on, man? You're doing good work down at Ole Miss. I see you guys are getting some key prospects to your class as well. So glad that things are working out, and things are working out fine for the Alabama Crimson Tide and their defensive coordinator, Kevin Steele, as Alabama heads on into the Rose Bowl. So last night, news happens all the time during this time of year, and you had Ja'Shawn Ross commit to the Alabama Crimson Tide. This is an edge rusher. This is a really big pickup for Alabama. This is a four-star edge rusher, and you wanted Alabama to add an edge rusher, a couple defensive linemen to this class, and they're certainly going to do that, and we're going to bring up a graphic that shows which prospects have committed, and then we're going to tomorrow inform you guys which prospects have signed. So right now you have committed prospects, and then tomorrow is the day where the ink hits the paper. And what I mean by that is prospects sign their letter of intent, and I believe there will be 10 early enrollees that will actually be ready to participate with the bowl, with the Rose Bowl, which is really amazing. Think about like your week if you're in one of these early enrollees. So you sign to play for the University of Alabama, you pack up your stuff, and then you get to go to Pasadena. So we're going to talk about that as well. But Ja'Shawn Ross jumping on board, really good pickup, and you're fitting some of those needs that you have on the defensive side, because I think when you look to the offensive side of Alabama, the offense is going to be so loaded next year. It's crazy. I mean, you look at all the guys coming back from the offensive line. As we talked about, Elijah Pritchett removed his name from the transfer portal. But you have the offensive line intact. You have your quarterback. You have your wide receivers. My goodness. I mean, we're going to talk about the running backs in just a second. But who's to say that Jason Roydell leave? I mean, those guys can certainly come back, and I know you guys watched Nick Saban's press conference yesterday, so I want to hit on a couple of those points as well. What's up, Jarvis? I see you inside the comment box. Good morning, George. Justin, I appreciate you being here. Sweet Home Bama 24, what's up? I appreciate you guys. Give me a roll tide inside the comment box. I appreciate you guys, and again, thank you very much to Sharon for being a fan funder. How do you become a fan funder? Well, basically go up to the top of this YouTube channel. You'll see a hyperlink, and hit the hyperlink to support the YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys and all your contributions as we move forward to 100,000 subscribers right here on Bama Football on YouTube. All eyes are watching Edric Houston, who is a five-star, another edge rusher, defensive lineman, who is currently committed to Ohio State. Now, this would be a gigantic flip if Alabama is able to land. I'm thinking, I mean, could they potentially land 5 guys tomorrow? One being a 5-star, maybe 2, which is crazy to think about. But Coach Saban has been doing an absolutely monstrous job recruiting once again. I mean, I talked about these yesterday. His schedule must be so jam-packed. So Edric Houston is announcing tomorrow between Ohio State and I guess Bama. So he's going to have his signing day ceremony at 12 p.m. Central Time. So we will have a graphic tomorrow that basically lists everybody and, who's signing. We have a graphic that we're going to keep you posted all day. Jackie, what's up? I see you from beautiful Gulf Shores. I wish I was down in Gulf Shores, but I'm in beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico. So up in the mountains, down on the beach, is all good with me. So Edric Houston, again, is announcing tomorrow. That is Wednesday, December 20th at 12 p.m. Central Time. And I think Alabama is right in this as well. And why not Bama, right? When you look to everything that is going on with Alabama and how Nick Saban continues to work this roster management, get this team to where they need to be. And what I mean by that is the playoffs. Get you to the next level. Nick Saban has proven continually that he can get you to the next level. Currently, I have 5 players from Alabama going into the first round of the NFL draft for the 2024 season. And 4 of those guys are on the defensive side of the ball. And when I take your calls today, I want to get your take on the Rose Bowl or any of these recruiting topics that you want to hit on. But I have Dallas Turner, Chris Broswell, Kool-Aid, Terrion, and then J.C. Latham as well going on to the NFL draft. Tom, what's up, man? I appreciate it. Inside the comment box, Tom Milrow is asking, I wonder if Kyle has ever met Heisenberg. Yeah, so that's a Breaking Bad reference. So yeah, Breaking Bad is not too far from the truth in Albuquerque. Albuquerque goes hard. You know, it's a major city, and that was such a great show to watch, and it was everybody watched it, and of course Walter White, A.K. Heisenberg, and Jesse Pinkman. I mean, that was a great show. But I didn't like the movie that they came out with on Netflix. I thought that was trash, but the series was solid. But my all-time favorite series ever is The Sopranos. So I know people tell me, like, and they kind of go back and they're like, you got to watch The Wire. And I think The Wire is the only show that has a better rating than The Sopranos, which is hard to believe. But, those are the shows. Tiger King, that show is stupid. Oh, my goodness. I hated that show. But people loved it. It took over. I couldn't get into it. It was just, I had enough. All right, so Alabama right now is number 2 in the team rankings, behind Georgia, and Georgia still maintaining that number 1 spot. I think at the end of the day that Alabama is able to be the number 1 team in recruiting, which will be crazy. But yeah, with all the fallout at Georgia, and considering that they even lost Dylan Raiola to Nebraska, they're still at that number 1 spot. I have a graphic that I'm going to put up in just a second that shows Alabama's commitments, but I would assume that Alabama ends the day tomorrow as the number 1 team in the country. Another slam dunk recruiting class for Coach Saban. Just amazing to think about it. And tomorrow evening, Coach Saban will hit the podium as well to talk about this signing class. And he can only talk about the prospects that I have signed. So, for example, Ryan Williams is going to sign his paperwork on February 9th. So you can't ask Coach Saban a question about Ryan Williams because he has not officially signed his paperwork. So we're, we'll hold off on that. But, other prospects that I've committed or signed, for example, like a Julian Sain, you could certainly ask Coach Saban about him if he has, in fact, signed by that point. I think Saban hits the podium tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time, which will give, like last year, for example, I think everybody was signed by around 2 p.m. That was kind of, where everything had kind of panned out. And then there was a couple other guys that had trickled in, the next day or so. But all day long, guys will be coming in, and we have a graphic that'll update you. So stay tuned tomorrow. We'll have you covered all day long with recruiting coverage right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Matthew, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. He is asking, do you think Alabama will flip Tristan Jernigan? We could really use him. He's a great player. Yeah, Tristan Jernigan currently committed to Texas A&M. Was in town, I think a week ago, and he was the young man that was playing the piano. So if you've seen that YouTube short, a beautiful piano rendition. He's sitting at Coach Saban's house with Miss Terry, and he's just on the keyboard. That's who that is. He's a linebacker. I think he's only a 3-star, but Jay Kirkpatrick Jr. is a 3-star, and what do you have? Just like 2 or 3 interceptions in the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star game. So nobody has any stars when they come to Alabama, but you certainly have to load up on the defensive side of the ball for sure when you're going into when you're looking to prospects to fulfill, because I said the offense is completely loaded, and I will add that graphic in just a second to show you the guys that are committed. So just hang tight. Jaden Baugh or Kevin Riley. So going into signing day, and it's kind of a signing day preview while I open up the show. I'm really, really curious about the Alabama running back position, because I don't think we're going to really know how the depth chart is working until the season is actually over. Now, there's roster management is different when you're not in the playoffs and when you're in the playoffs. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're a team that is in the playoffs, like Alabama, Jace is, like, he hasn't made up his mind if he's going to leave, I don't think. Roy Dale, and we do have an update on Jace, or at least what Coach Saban said yesterday. Why would those guys leave? Look, no disrespect to them, but they're different from Jahmyr Gibbs or Josh Jacobs. If I'm Roy Dell and I'm Jace and I can come back for the COVID year, I'm thinking about it 100%, which means that you have those 2 guys, or at least one of them. Then you have Jam Miller, who's coming back. Then you have Justice Haynes. You have Richard Young. So if Alabama takes 2 running backs, that would be really amazing. So the running backs in play right now, Jaden Baugh, who decommitted from for Arkansas yesterday, And then you have Kevin Riley, who's right in the backyard of Tuscaloosa, right? Tuscaloosa County High School, who is committed to Miami. So could, potentially two running backs sign with Alabama on Wednesday? It's kind of looking the case. So Alabama potentially adding, two running backs, and that's kind of what we're watching going into signing day. Coach Saban hit on these particular points yesterday during his press conference on Monday, which you can watch right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Talked about George Hilo, who was at Alabama on the defensive side of the ball, and then he went to Michigan for 2021 and 2022, and Coach Saban hires him again. Now, if you rewatch Coach Saban's press conference and you listen to what he says, there's two important things about George Hilo. So the first thing is he says that George Hilo has been here before and wanted him back to the process, and you always want assistants to come in and kind of help with bowl prep. And while Saban is away recruiting or doing whatever, to come back, and there's a guy that kind of keeps him up to date on what's happening. So George Hilo, he referred to him, if you rewatch it, as a special assistant to Coach Saban. Guess who else held that title? Butch Jones, right? So Coach Saban likes these really diligent, high efficient guys behind the scenes that are on his staff, kind of helping the process as he's recruiting or going into the bowl season. As we've talked about, I can't even imagine Coach Saban's schedule at this point in time. So, and Coach Saban was asked about George Hilo and if he was going to replace Coleman Hutzler, who's Alabama's outside linebacker. Well, you're like, what? Well, if you missed it, and I know there's a lot of news circulating, but Coleman Hutzler, who worked with the special teams and the outside linebackers. Good morning, HeySo24. I appreciate you joining in. Milton, what's up, man? I appreciate you being in here. And, of course, Jarvis, we appreciate you, man. So Coleman Hutzler is headed to Mississippi State to be their defensive coordinator, which is going to open up a spot. But Coach Saban was asked, is George Hilo, was he hired to replace Hutzler? And I get it. I mean, that's actually a good question, because could the writing be on the wall? He's a defensive guy, work with the linebackers, Holman or Hutzler out, and Coach Saban didn't really want to address that. In fact, it seemed like it pissed him off, to be honest. But I thought it was a good question. But, he doesn't want to reveal all his moves right now, because I'm sure he's dealing with a lot of roster management. And all of his answers yesterday were pretty short, because I think he's just, Coach Saban is grinding and his schedule is really jam-packed right now. But George Hilo will, I guess for right now, be a special assistant to Coach Saban. What's up, Eloy? I appreciate you being here, and thank you very much for your support for the show. Jace McClellan, running back at Alabama. What's up, Walt? I see you inside the comment box. Alabama running back who missed the game against Georgia. And we still don't really have a status update on him, but Coach Saban was asked about Jace yesterday, and he said that he's starting to do some dry land running. So that kind of means right now that he's not 100% clearly. And usually when they do dry land running, it's kind of like, 60% that they're ready to go. Why is this important? Because you have all these running backs behind him. Because Jace is a baller. Jace has had a fantastic season, and having quality running backs against a really good defensive team like Michigan is important. And, of course, you look to the running backs behind him, Jam Miller, Justice Haynes, those guys are going to eat as well. But, Jace has been a workhorse for Alabama. I think he's really been underrated. I don't think he's a first or second round type guy, and that's not a knock to him. It's just running backs are a dime a dozen at the next level. But the kid has a really special talent, and I think he's really been underrated during his time at Alabama. So hopefully he gets back to 100% health at some time. All right, let me give you a sneak peek at tomorrow, what to expect on the show. So tomorrow, you're going to be able to come here. I'm going to minus the call-in line from the bottom left. And all day long, you're going to see this graphic, okay? So all day long, we're just going to stream. And what you're going to see is this particular graphic. So it has the players that are committed right now on the left, okay? And it has their star ranking. And as those players are officially signed, I'm going to put a check mark by each of those players so you can keep track with who has officially signed, okay? So, starting up at the top, if it's Julian saying that's officially signed his paperwork, I'm going to put a check mark there. And I'm going to keep updating that graphic all day long going into Coach Saban's press conference in the afternoon. We will also track headlines throughout National Signing Day. For example, Alabama ranked number 2. Who could Alabama flip? Who's on Flip Watch? As we've talked about, and I'll probably talk about that right now for just a second, who is on Flip Watch? Because I think everybody wants to know who is on Flip Watch when you watch this Alabama team. And, how is let me get this graphic side by side. who is on flip watch for Alabama. And I think there's a lot of guys who are on flip watch for the Alabama Crimson Tide, believe it or not. I think that, Edric Houston, who's a 5-star, he could be a flip from Ohio State, which would be crazy. That news would certainly break the internet. I think that Jaden Baugh, with him decommitting from Arkansas, I think you could consider that a flip if he does pick Alabama on signing day. Kevin Riley, a running back, who is committed to Miami, if he flips, that could be another flip to Alabama as well. And then I guess Tristan Jernigan, right, if he decides to flip to Alabama, that would be, a big flip for Alabama as well. And we are watching Favor Edwin, as it said there at the bottom. And I guess you could even consider flips like LT Overton, who is a defensive lineman, if he's able to flip. So look at all those guys that Alabama is going to sign on the left. And I have some spots on the underneath for guys that are already going to probably flip to Alabama as well. So tomorrow is going to be an action-packed day, 100%. And just another great day for the Alabama Crimson Tide because, Coach Saban absolutely crushing it, doing a really good job. And this signing class looks like, in my opinion, it's going to be number one overall in the country. So want to get your calls, whether it's about the Rose Bowl or transfers or anything else that's on your mind today. And we will start off the phone lines with 865. I appreciate you being patient. Let's start it right now. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Yes, Angel again from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Yeah, good morning, Angel. I appreciate you joining the show, man. Welcome on in.
Yes, this game is going to be a huge game, especially for Alabama and Michigan, because the sign stealing. Plus, not only that, but also the former assistant from Michigan. It's going to be a heck of a matchup. It's going to get a lot of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's going to be a close game till like the third quarter, and then Bama wants to run away with it. I ain't too worried about it because, Dallas Turner has to come through on defense, and Malachi Moore and Chris Braswell and also Trevor Marshall. I mean, everything's on the line, and Jermaine Burton's got to be that receiver to motivate the other receivers and help Milroe out, and, just all around, everybody's going to be ready for this game because this is a make-or-break game.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time,
for everything,
Yeah, I think at this point in time, there's so much on the line. And again, we're on with Angel from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and I think there's so much on the line when you go into these type of games. Not only because it's a win-loss type game when you're going into the playoffs, but in terms of branding as well. I mean, you're going up against Jim Harbaugh. It's another iconic program in Michigan, and I think a lot of people still want to see. This is the number one thing. I think a lot of people still want to see if Coach Saban still has it. Can you imagine if Coach Saban's able to put together the number one recruiting class, be able to win the Rose Bowl, be able to take this team to the national title game, be able to win a national title game when everybody said that Coach Saban had lost it, that the game has passed him by. We just uploaded a clip of him to YouTube Shorts of him dancing. I mean, look, Coach Saban, he's absolutely rolling. And I think, in terms of branding and saying, look, I'm still the GOAT. This is a program that has stayed steady throughout the last, 10, 11 years, 12 years since he's been here. I mean, it's been an incredible run. He's clearly not done. So I think in terms of branding and overall beating Michigan head-to-head, it would be a really big win for the SEC as well, considering all this stuff that's going on, between the Big Ten and the SEC. So going out to the Rose Bowl is a great opportunity for Coach Saban to showcase his program, his organization to California on the West Coast. It's a great opportunity to continue to recruit out there. So, yeah, a lot of storylines on that. What else you got, Angel?
Yes. Let's see here. Regarding next season, this will be really great for next people that come in for next season. But, I think Jason's going to be gone, though. I think he's going to go to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wardell may stay behind just to help out. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as I said earlier about the running backs, I don't know. I mean, literally after the game, Coach Saban sits down, and this was something Coach Saban talked about yesterday as well during his press conference. He meets with those guys literally after the game and goes over their draft grade with them. But he said that he keeps a lot of that stuff private, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, that's between coach and his player. I don't know, where Jace is going to fall. I haven't really even seen his name in mock drafts or anything like that. And that's just no disrespect. I really haven't looked past the first round when kind of looking at, the 2024 NFL draft. But I just know, historically, running backs aren't taken off the board in the first round. Or even really the second round, unless they really, really jump off. And we've had 2 running backs here at Alabama that have done that, Jahmyr Gibbs and Josh Jacobs as of late. But kind of getting back to your first point, too, I think it is another big opportunity for some of these, players on the defensive side to really increase their draft stock. We were just talked about this, Chris Broswell, Dallas Turner. I know those guys are first-round type draft picks, but, man, I think they continue. Like, their ceiling is still high, and those guys are just going to play such a pivotal role in getting to J.J. McCarthy, or whether it's Michael Penix or Quinn Ewers. I mean, that's going to be, I think, the 2 things. If Alabama is able to win the national title, I think it's 2 things. Number 1, the player Jalen Milroe, and number 2, and that's kind of obvious, but the second thing, and probably biggest thing, is if Alabama can get pressure on the quarterback in these next 2 games, if there are 2 games. I mean, getting pressure is going to change the momentum of these 2 type of games going forward. And Ty, I see that the line is now up to 2.5. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like Alabama still. So, you're taking that Alabama in that game. What else you got, Angel?
Yes, but not only that, we got to have the special teams too. Would be big play, especially making those kicks, getting blocks.
Yes.
But also Milroe, he's going to be the X factor on offense to help out. He sets the tone of the game. He has to facilitate, be the point guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our line two's got to step up for all 60 minutes.
Special teams
to make or break their season.
Yeah, special teams is such a crucial part of this game, and I think with Will Riker, he should have a chip on his shoulder as well. I mean, being robbed of the Lou Garza Award, right? I mean, he should have 1,000,000% won that award.
Yeah, he got wrong.
Yeah, and who's balling out too is James Burnip, the punter. I mean, I think he might be the second best punter that Alabama. Well, I know J.K. Scott was here for such a long time. But I like Burnip. I mean, these Australian punters are salty, and I like I kind of like the play of him, and I think he's kind of underrated as well. Angel, I'm gonna move to my next caller, man. But I appreciate you starting off the show, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Roll Tide.
All right. Yeah. Angel out in Pigeon Forge. I appreciate you guys hitting the thumbs up, liking, to subscribe. Kind of a signing day preview, if you will. Tomorrow is December 20th, and we will have coverage all day long regarding this incredible signing class that Nick Saban has once again put together. Ja'Shawn Ross committed to Alabama last night, and then you have 5-star Edric Houston, who is announcing between Ohio State and I guess Bama tomorrow. Bama is very much in play in this going into Wednesday signing. This would be crazy if Alabama gets Edric Houston. I'm telling you, Alabama right now number 2 in the team rankings. Jaden Baugh and Kevin Riley, 2 running backs that could potentially end up at Alabama as well. As Angel said actually someone in the comment box asked about Tristan Jernigan, the linebacker from Texas A&M. I think we're watching him as well. George Hilo has been added to the staff. He's a former Michigan coach, so Coach Saban always playing chess out there. We take our next caller. It's a 256. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Daryl from Huntsville.
What's up, Daryl? I appreciate you calling back, man. Thanks for giving me your time this morning. George Hilo added to the staff, and Coach Saban talked about him being a special assistant. Coach Saban always playing chess. What do you think about this move before the Rose Bowl?
Well, it's a move that he knows exactly what he needs. He knows who he needs, and he knows the timing of who he needs. And this sign stealing scandal that's went on with Michigan, why would it stop?
Yeah.
So he can give Alabama a heads up on what they need to do to protect their signs and make sure that their calls are not stolen. Because again, if you go cheat, why you cheat at the little stuff? This is the big stuff now. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't you continue to cheat? If I got caught, so what you gonna do? Take the title from me? I kind of doubt it. So that's also a psychological move for Harbaugh. In other words, don't try it.
Yeah.
So Nick is still playing chess, and they're not even at the chess. They're playing Chinese checkers.
Mm-hmm. I look, I like the addition. I mean, I don't, I think just because the associated, sometimes things are weird. Like, I don't, coincidental, like if it's added that he, coached at Michigan. I mean, it has to be something like that. And Coach Saban was asked about this yesterday. He was like, "You worried about the sign stealing?" He's like, "No, not at all. I'm not worried about the sign stealing in one bit." And Coach Saban is so dialed in. And he said that they switch up their signs a little bit, but I don't think he's worried about that stuff. I think he just focuses is kind of on what he can control, and that's the output and the performance of his team, which he's clearly focused on. So he's finishing up recruiting right now. He's also having Rose Bowl practice, and you can control what you control. And Coach Saban's always, as you know, Coach Darryl, I mean, you look to, if you're a coach, you control the factors on your team. You have to have your execution as they executed in the SEC title game. I mean, Alabama played if you can, I continue to think back at the SEC title game. I mean, look, they put together a very solid game, and this team hasn't made a lot of the mistakes that they made kind of during kind of that middle of the season. I mean, always kind of transforming and going forward. What else you got, Darryl?
Yeah, well, if you look from the Texas game to the South Florida game, you see a team that has improved every week, has met every challenge, has done everything that Coach Saban asked them to do, to ask them for leadership, to not beat ourselves, turnovers, penalties. They've had some games where they had penalties, but they hadn't had the penalties in crucial drives. Again, like the Milroe was, he was overhyped against Auburn, ran across the line and threw that pass and ended up 4th and 30. But again, it worked out, and we're here. So now, all that's behind you. Look in front of you, see your opponent, and as they say in the military, tack up. In other words, get everything together, get all the units together, special teams, offensive line, defensive line, let everybody communicate and everybody do their job. And I guarantee you, if everybody does that, we will come home with another national championship. You can book it.
What are your thoughts? I mean, just as kind of like, a fan on the outside looking in, what is your take on Jim Harbaugh as a coach?
He's a good coach. He's this type of coach to me. He comes in, he's hard nosed, no nonsense, he's arrogant, and he can get a team to a certain level, but once they get to that level, they'll burn out. He burns every bridge behind him, and I would not be shocked if he's gone to pro football this year after the playoffs, because there's only so much you can take of certain coaches like that. He'll burn you out. He can get the best out of you for a minute, but then all of a sudden you're just like, man, I don't have anything else to give, because this guy is on me when I'm right. He's on me when I'm wrong. He's on me when I'm up, when I'm down. He never comforts me when I'm down. And those coaches burn you out. And that's what he is. He's a burnout. When he left the 49ers, he left right on time because he was burnt out. He had burnt that. They were done under him. And we see what happened. They started to rise a couple of years after he was out of there. So, is he a good coach? Yes, I would be crazy to say he's not a good coach. But he's the type of coach that's not going to be there. I can't see him being in Michigan for 16, 15 years like Nick Saban at Alabama. I don't see it.
Last thing, Darryl, that I want to ask you about, and I talked about this earlier. I mean, Coach Saban, what he's doing right now from a recruiting standpoint, I know there's NIL deals and there's places that you can go out and probably get a large deal if you're a transfer guy or if you're a incoming freshman or whatever the case is. But from a developmental process, why not Alabama? I mean, talk about kind of Nick Saban and Nick Saban, there's NIL, but then there's the developmental process along with NIL. It's not like players are just coming here for free now. There's NIL deals for these kids. But I mean, from the developmental process, I mean, talk about that from what Coach Saban has been able to do and showcase from these guys, not only getting here, and waiting their turn and ultimately playing in, playoffs or national title games and eventually to the NFL.
Well, I think I saw a graphic that they have in the Alabama facility of all the money that the players have made over the years.
Yes.
And it's an astounding amount of money that these players have made and have made from as Alabama draftees. So the record speaks for itself. You know, when you take a guy like Cody, he was a 3-star. Nobody wanted Cody. I mean, all Cody did with everywhere he was a decent player, but Nick saw something in him that he could use to bolster his defense. All Cody, Cody was known for running up the grocery bill. And then you had Courtney Upshaw. Courtney Upshaw was a 3-star. Nobody had even heard of Courtney Upshaw. So his skill at developing players, getting you to your best you, see your talent, see what we can use, see how we can use it, is unmatched.
Yeah.
It's unmatched. He's the greatest. Now, see, again, people get mad when I say I cannot say he's the greatest coach I've ever seen, because to me, it's tit for tat, Bear Bryant and Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the greatest recruiter. There's nobody even close. They changed the rules because of him. And his developmental process is what everybody should want to be. Yes. Because when you come in as a freshman, you want as a sophomore, as a junior or a senior, when you leave, you will not be the same. You will be a better ball player. And if you're not a better ball player, most of the time it's because of you.
Yeah, 100%. Good stuff, Daryl. I appreciate you calling in, man. I always appreciate rapping with you, man. So appreciate you leading off the show this morning or being second in line. And, we'll catch up with you later this week, man. Call in anytime. Appreciate you.
All right, Kyle. You know what? It's always my pleasure.
Yep, absolutely, man. Take it easy, Daryl.
All right.
Daryl with the call. Daryl's a coach, so I like one of the things about the show is being able to connect with, coaches, whether it's at the high school or the college or, the ultimate level, and being able to just talk schematics with them. And it always kind of translates really well back to Alabama, because what Nick Saban's been able to do, not only from, working with the players, but getting them to the NFL. And I think sometimes, like Coach was saying, they do have a graphic inside the locker room that talks about the amount of money that players have been able to earn from Alabama. I think it's in the billions, right? So you look at all this first-round type money and all these guys, what they've been able to do, certainly really impressive. And Nick Saban can ultimately get you the best NIL deal that's out there, and that's playing in the NFL. All right, we're going to take a 3-3-7. Let's do it right now. Yeah, I appreciate you calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Eloy from basically Leesville, Louisiana.
Hey, what's up, Eloy? Thank you very much.
Kyle,
I appreciate you joining in, man. Welcome to the
go
show.
ahead.
Yeah, take it easy.
I
appreciate you joining the show, man. Yeah, thank you so much, man. Take it away.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Hey, I've been, following you back since you were with the Rivals, and you, Bone, and your crew there had a great show. And I guess part of me is wondering why got disbanded. And then the other part is, like I said, you do a fabulous show, man. And plus, I lived in Albuquerque for about 3 years myself, so it's a beautiful state, beautiful town.
Yeah, absolutely. So Eli, I'll be transparent with you. Yeah, I used to work for Rivals for 15, 16 years. It was great. Had a really great opportunity to work for Rivals, and I ran New Mexico high school football and preps, and it covered New Mexico high school football. And then I had an opportunity to run CU Sports Nation, which operated out of Boulder, Colorado. And then I got called up to the big leagues, and I was able to move to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And at that time, I was still working for Rivals, and then I had an opportunity to join On3. I was in my position basically was to oversee the YouTube channels and kind of my expertise from that YouTube standpoint. And then I had an opportunity. So at that same time, the YouTube channel was blowing up like it is now, right? So I made sure, and this is 100% fact, that all of my guys got taken care of by On3. And On3 is a great company, and what they've been able to do, Shannon has a really great vision, as everybody knows. On3 is chasing ESPN. I think they're in a whole different stratosphere, and he's built up, he started Rivals, then he built up 24/7, and now he's building up On3. So I made sure that those guys were all taken care of. Bone, he's really great at what he does, clearly from the recruiting standpoint. Tony Tsoukalis, he went with Sports Illustrated, but there was an opportunity for him to go to On3, and he's doing a really good job. He's back with Rivals. And then for me, and there were some other guys kind of behind the scenes that did like editing and stuff like that behind the scenes. I make sure that they got taken care of. One of them is still on with On3. And then for me, it became a better situation for me to run the YouTube channel independently, because if you look across the landscape, I know there's a bunch of different YouTube channels that now cover Alabama football or college football. And they're all doing a really great job. But for me specifically, I've always been kind of been able to work independently. I'm built like that. I don't need necessarily somebody telling me what to do. I have my own creative vision. I've been a CEO before, a CFO, so I'm able to wear that hat. And that's why, now I run the YouTube channel just by myself. But I do have respect for all of those people out there that are doing a really good job. And having a job is super important, and I'm glad that those guys do. But I'm built to be independent, and I think long term, my vision is to add some different elements to the show or to the YouTube channel, because I think when people started thinking about YouTube, they were thinking like, oh man, like hopefully things pick up for you, and kind of doing it from the basement or whatever. No, like I do this on a professional level. Like this is how I feed my kids. This is how I pay my mortgage. You have your full-time job. This is mine. So, no disrespect to any of those great people out there. From if you're Stephen Smith from Touchdown Alabama, who's an absolute grinder. If you're AL.com with all of their staff. If you're On3, if you're Rivals, if you're 24/7, if you're ESPN. All of those, I'm telling you, all those people are grinding. And as we always talk about, you're not entitled to anything. You're not entitled to even a paycheck. So, respect, kind of the grind. But for me, I'm built kind of to, lead. And that's kind of the vision. So I hope I answered that for you as best as I could.
Oh, no. That's a great answer, bro. Yeah. And it shows that you are on top of your game. You basically the GOAT of Bama coverage, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Because, like I said, you're very informative. You're very clear and precise with your message, and you do the work, and it shows.
Yeah.
That's why I like listening to you. I mean, out of all the Bama YouTubers out there, I'd rather listen to you all day, basically.
Yeah.
Some people just keep babbling, and you get to the point, you engage your audience, and you do a fabulous job, and you get the inside track to Bama football.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is like, right now somebody asked me about my setup. They're like, you're sitting instead of standing. I do have a standing office in my home in Tuscaloosa, and that's the thing. Like, I live in Tuscaloosa. A lot of the people who do cover Alabama, for whatever reason, they might not live in Tuscaloosa. I go to the facility. I am in Tuscaloosa, and right now I'm seeing family here in New Mexico, but I'm going to the Rose Bowl. And would it be easier just to like stay home and report on the game from being at home? Yeah, it would, but I think it adds more validity. And I think you guys being subscribers, when you guys see that I'm out in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, like that provides validity. And I have to get media credentials, and I have to talk to the Rose Bowl and say, yes, this is what I do, and I have to go out there and represent myself on a professional level. And I think that, the viewers and, I think you guys can see that, because one of the things that this is what I've learned. So I just turned 40 in November, and people can see through bullshit. 100%. Like, if you are not, like, people know what's real and what's not. People can sense it. So I always try to just put my best foot forward and let kind of my work kind of shine through. And that's why I appreciate, all you guys being here, whether it's, on the call line or watching recruiting updates or, daily content. Like, I really put every single thing that I have into this YouTube channel, including tomorrow for signing day. I mean, we're not going to stop tomorrow on signing day or the day after. It's part of kind of that mantra of this YouTube channel. What else you got, Eloy, while you're on the show?
I guess going to the Bama defense, I just hope Richard Steele just unleashes them dogs and just impose their will on Michigan. And I hope the refs. I mean, what conference is going to be the I guess the referees or the refereeing crew?
Oh yeah.
Does anybody know? Or
Usually you can find that information when they add the game notes. So a good place to find that is where I find it is if you go to rolltide.com. They have game notes. I don't know if the game notes have been released, but it's really nice how it looks. So if you click game notes, it's really a well organized PDF, and it has all these intricacies in terms of like who is covering the game, the play-by-play announcers, who's going to be on the field, and I think they do have the referees. But I can look that up and then report back because I think that is a good question, a really important question. And the thing is, Coach Saban even said that they do scout officials. Hey, these guys call, more, holding calls or, pass interference calls. And they do a lot of self-assessment as well. So, yeah, I think that's a really good question, Eloy, to hit on in terms of going into this Rose Bowl. I'll look on that and I'll follow up on that as well.
Because, it seems like every time Bama doesn't get the benefit of the doubt, especially on pass interference, that everything is on. You touch the man, they call a flag. I seen Bryce Young get decapitated by Tennessee last year. Not a foul was thrown. So.
No, I know. And Jackie White, I see you inside the comment box. Man, if I was down there in Gulf Shores, I would try to get in 9 holes with you today. So during the springtime, as much as I can, or at least kind of going into summertime, last year I joined the Alabama Amateur Golf Tournament because I love competition. And, every weekend you go to various places in the state of Alabama, and some of them were Robert Trent Jones courses, and they were difficult. Like the one up in Muscle Shoals that I played in, there was like bunkers protected by water. But I love to compete, and it's kind of just something about my personality. Eloy, anything else, man, while I got you on the show before we bounce out?
I guess Milrose, I like the kid. I mean, he has exceeded expectations, but you still see some of the, indecisiveness and his throwing. I'm assuming next year he's going to be a lot better, more comfortable as a passer. But sometimes he holds that ball just a tad too long for me. What's your input on that?
Yeah, I think, what you're seeing with Jalen Milroe right now is growth. And, I mean, that's why, I wasn't shocked at all that he's coming back. I knew that everybody, who follows the team on a daily basis knew that the team that he was going to return 1,000,000% because his ceiling is so high. He is nowhere near a finished product. And that's why, where he's at right now, I don't even know if he's 60%, complete of his game. I mean, can you imagine when Jalen has 25 starts under his belt? So yeah, I think that last time, against Georgia, that wasn't his most accurate game by any stretch of the imagination, and I think that was a good job because Georgia's DBs were locked in and they had a really good game plan. But I think, man, going forward, I mean, I think that I believe 100% in Jalen, and I have for this entire season. This was the guy that was going to get the job done, and I can't even imagine next year at this time how good he's going to be. So
that's true.
I mean, man, because you just see growth, and the more that he sits with Coach Saban in the quarterback room and with Tommy Rees, and he continues to go over things and work on his game. I mean, and build more continuity with his wide receivers as well. I mean, this is a guy who has 13 starts. This is crazy. 13 starts at the highest level at Alabama, and he continues to grow. But Eli, I got to move to my next caller, man. I appreciate you calling in. I'll be on live 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, so I really appreciate the support. It was really good catching up with you. Really good questions, and I'll catch up with you next time.
Okay, brother. And one last note: Michigan's built for Alabama because they play just like Georgia, or try to play like Georgia, and we saw what happened, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, roll tide.
All right, roll tide, team, man. All right, take it easy. All right, that was a good call from state of Louisiana. I got to get back up to Jackie said something about, it was Jackie, it was Muscle Shoals that I played at, and Fighting Joe. Those courses were definitely they were hard. They were really, really, they were difficult. Plus it was 1,000,000 degrees when I played out there. All right, we go. We have a 334, a 251, a 304, a 661, and a 404 coming up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. If you guys can hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, I appreciate the super chats as well. If you want to become a fan funder of this YouTube channel, go up to the top. It's a hyperlink and hit the join button. If you're on a desktop, I think it just says join, and there's plenty of options to support the channel. I really appreciate you guys being here. Talking some pre-signing day headlines, and tomorrow, if you're just joining the show, all day long, we will update this graphic as prospects come in. I'll make it full screen. So basically, prospects on the left are the guys that are currently committed, but they won't be officially signed until that paperwork comes in. So we will keep you posted with check marks as each of those guys come in. So it's going to be a long day of making sure that those check boxes are announced, and then we'll check the national signing day headlines as well. There's a lot of storylines going into this particular signing day, and I think Coach Saban, when you look to the Rivals or 24/7, or you look to the headlines, that it's going to be a really big day for the Alabama Crimson Tide. So with that said, we'll jump right into our next call, which is at 334. Hey, welcome to the show. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Wes from Tallahassee. How are you, man?
Hey, what's up, Wes? I appreciate you joining, man. Hope you're having a good holiday season, man. What's up? Welcome to the show.
Man, appreciate it. So I had an old friend that went to a funeral over the weekend, and they were able to talk to Jimbo. Jimbo was a good friend of whoever passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool that he had these conversations with Jimbo, and Jimbo was talking about the playoffs, and you know what his thoughts were. He was devastated that Florida State wasn't in it. He said that for him, he didn't really understand why people are mad at Alabama. He said that you should really be mad at Texas, because Texas is really the one that created all this. They beat Alabama, and now you have two SEC teams. But either way, he kind of touched on the game. He said that Michigan, he said, I get where all these affiliates and everybody have all these point spreads as Michigan. He said, I just don't see it. He said the team speed between the two teams is going to be night and day when they kick off.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think personally, when they talk about the quarterback battle, I'm not, I know their quarterback kind of reminds me of the Auburn quarterback. He's not going to light you up for 300 yards. He might pop a little, 15-yard run every now and then, but Jalen's about to ball out, dude. Can you imagine if Jalen makes that kind of jump that the LSU quarterback did this year? Dude, that'll be insane.
That's crazy to even think about, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. His game is nowhere complete, and I think you're right, about the team speed. And I just saw, I think it was Bruce Feldman just tweeted out something about a story. He talked to several opposing coaches that have faced Alabama, and how Alabama was to recently just start mauling people inside the trenches. What's up, Mike? I see you inside the comment box. We have a Michigan fan in here, Yeah, I mean, if you rewatch that SEC and you do your rewatch, the crazy thing was Jaden Roberts was just throwing dudes around from Georgia. So Jaden Roberts has probably been one of the best, kind of underrated storylines to follow this year. But I think, the team speed of Alabama on the offensive side is just, it's elite. I think Alabama certainly has the ride out mentality back. I think that was missing probably last year. But with Jermaine Burton, Isaiah Bond, Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice, I think those guys have kind of reinstalled that ride-out mentality. So, yeah, the speed is fast. And I think I still can't wait to see some of these younger running backs. Getting a small dose of Jam Miller in the SEC title game was good. But Justice Haynes, I think he's ready to go. I mean, I just posted some practice footage that the university sent to us. And if you just rewatch it, there's 5 seconds of Justice Haynes. He has the best footwork of any running back that I've ever seen here at Alabama, honestly. So I think in due time, you're going to get Justice Haynes. I mean, I know everybody's waiting for it. What else you got, Wes?
No, you touched it. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the running back group. So the guy from, what's number 22? What's his, Justice Haynes?
Yeah, that's Justice Haynes, 22, yeah.
I'm kind of worried, man. We need to get him on the field. You know how these players are nowadays. He seems like a dog. Seems like he will embrace the competition, and eventually, if you're that good, you're going to play. But dude, we got to get that dude on the field.
I 100% agree. I think kind of, and that's what's so amazing that Coach Saban is able to keep these guys here because look, you got to keep these guys fed. David, I appreciate the super chat. Weddings are funerals. You dig a hole, you can't climb out of. What do you say? I do. So thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. But yeah, the running back is crazy. Like in all of the positions, because right now, can you imagine maybe the NIL deal that Justice Haynes could get? Like there's no playing around. There's no wondering if he's going to be good. Like he's good and he's going to be something here at Alabama. So kind of getting him to be, and I was thinking about this, like if Roydell leaves and Jace leave, and I think those guys have done a great job, as I've said countless times. But I think the running back room would be even better next year is if you have Jam Miller and Justice Haynes. I really do, and that's you might be like that's ridiculous because we haven't even seen a lot of Justice Haynes. I kind of feel it. Honestly, I feel that Jam Miller is going to be your power back that can break big runs, and I think that Justice Haynes is just going to be a menace. I think that he's an all-purpose back that is just going to completely ball out. So that's kind of one, and we're looking at the running backs to take tomorrow for Alabama. These guys, Kevin Riley, who's out of Tuscaloosa County, I think that would be a really good addition, as well as, Jaden Bobb. But I guess we'll have to see which running backs leave and which running backs come into the program because, but the thing I will say, too, is that it's never a bad deal to have quality running backs. This year they've been healthy for the most part besides Jace, but there's been years here where you get down to the Justice Haynes. I mean, same thing with the inside linebacker position. It's a physical game. It's a physical level. That's why I think what is the max longevity in a running back in the NFL? Like 3 years, if that. I mean, it's a grown man's game.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I don't get the Buford curse though. I mean, you watch these top level guys that go to Buford and end up going elsewhere. That's like literally in Georgia's backyard. I don't understand it, but hey,
yeah,
it's our benefit. We'll take.
Yeah, I mean the prospects that Buford has is crazy, just unbelievable. Yeah, what else you got, Wes?
So as Ryan Williams, I know you've touched on him before. I've told you how far Tallahassee is from Auburn, but I'm not saying I know any inside scoop, but I have talked to someone that has said that Yellowwood has gotten extremely involved in this kid.
Yeah.
And they say that it may have something to do with when he's signing. So I think you posted it a few minutes ago saying that he's signing on the 9th, but I don't know. I think if the kid was 100% committed, he could go ahead and sign tomorrow, right?
I think, so this is a really good question. I think from my understanding, like he has to finish up, some school or something like that to be able to sign at February 9th. So I think it's more of like a timing deal than it is just like his, like when he wants to sign. I think it's more has to do with something with school rather than like if he just doesn't want to sign tomorrow. But I mean, the last thing that Ryan Williams said is that he's going to sign on February 9th. And I think some people behind the scenes said it's something to do with school. So who knows? I mean, think about the complicated transcript that Ryan Williams has. Not only because he's supposed to be in 2025, right? And then now you're signing early to leave to be able to be, if he was, I don't think he's going to be an early enrollee, but I can't even imagine the transcript on that young man and trying to figure out all that stuff in terms of school paperwork. So I think that's kind of the holdup, if anything.
Got you. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in, Wes. I appreciate you, man. See ya.
Roll Tide.
Yep, Roll Tide. Wes calling in from Tallahassee. 251, let's dive right into it. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Chris. Line with him. Where are you calling in from?
Hey, man, it's Robert from Mobile.
Hey, what's up, Robert? I appreciate you calling in. Really good to talk to you on this fine Tuesday, December 19th. We're talking a variety of, topics. Nick Saban's incredible upcoming recruiting class, thoughts on the Rose Bowl, the fact that Coach Saban, he's playing chess and just added George Hilo, a former Alabama and Michigan coach, Jason McQuillan's status, kind of all the running backs that are on this roster. So with that said, man, welcome to the show. You take it away.
Yeah, you listen to all the talk, after the USF game in particular. That's when, he's lost his fastball and the team's no good. We'll probably lose 3 games. It kind of reminds me. Nick Saban kind of reminds me of Dracula. How they think he's dead, but then they forgot. Hey, you didn't stab him in the heart. You wounded him good, but you didn't hit the heart. So all of a sudden he rises out of the grave, out of the coffin, and then takes taking out people. Yeah, that's kind of how this season is going and how Nick Saban is. Like, oh yeah. You thought you had that fourth and 31 stake in Auburn's hand, about ready to driving to Nick Saban, and all of a sudden he grabs the stake and starts taking out people. You missed the heart, Auburn.
Man, I wish we had kind of receipts, like almost from like a national perspective, about all the people who had given up on Alabama and Nick Saban. And I have to say, I rewind back to the week 2 game, and it was before Alabama lost to Texas. But Kirk Herbstreit was saying that he still believes that, you go back and watch it, he still believed that Alabama was going to be able to make a run and win the national title. And the main reason was, he said, Nick Saban.
Wow.
And that always kind of stuck with me. And I know Alabama lost, the next day or whatever. But I mean, that's it. That's the common denominator here at the University of Alabama is Nick Saban. So, the OCs that leave and the players that even leave, you're like, how are they ever going to be able to replace a William Anderson? How are they going to be able to replace a Bruce Young? How are they going to be able to replace a Mac Jones or a Tua or Jerry Jeudy or whoever else? Minka Fitzpatrick. Right. You're like, we'll never see another like Minka Fitzpatrick. Oh, just wait a couple years and you'll have the greatest freshman ever in Caleb Downs come through. You're like, what? So, and the common denominator is Coach Saban, man, I really admire what's going on with Saban right now. From, I just saw a clip of him dancing. I mean, he's living his best life. He's still so dialed in. I get it. He's tired. Who isn't tired during this time of year? But the grind don't stop. And if he puts together the #1 recruiting class after people thought he was dead, come back to resurrect this team from where it was, man, what a story to add on. This is a Netflix. We're watching Netflix right now. This is like a show.
Well, that's why you keep hearing now the commentators are, if he wins this, will he retire? No. Which means, okay, that's where you guys going with this now? You try to talk him into retirement to convince him he lost his fastball. Yeah. Not trying to convince him to retire, what do you got left, Saban? You just a great high note to go out on, Bottom line, they want to get rid of the man. That's because, like you said, he's the key. As long as he's there, Alabama's always in the mix. Alabama's always in the hunt.
And I mean,
they hate Alabama. They're tired of him.
And as long as I've been here, that's 7 years. People are going to say he was going to retire. Seriously, like every single year, that's like one of the storylines. And Coach Saban said, because he has been asked, how long are you going to coach? He's 72 years old. And he said, as long as I can still make a positive contribution, this is literally what he said, as long as I can make a positive contribution to the team and to the organization, I'm going to continue to coach. As long as, he still has a job here, whatever, and I know you're like, what? Because, Greg Byrne makes those decisions, but I mean, it's Coach Saban. And is he still making positive contributions this year? They've only lost one game. They won the SEC West. They won the SEC. They're going to the Rose Bowl. This #1 recruiting class. Like, what is it? How is he not contributing at the highest level? I mean, it is crazy. And if you're coming into the SEC and you still think about all the coaches in the SEC that have been processed over the years just because they want to be relevant, like Alabama. That's hard. That's really impossible to duplicate. I mean, Texas A&M is willing to spend $5 billion to try to do whatever they can. They can't do it. You can't. It's Coach Saban. You can't.
Well, it is him. And, of course, some of the guys out there are saying, well, ESPN will pay you just as much as Alabama. And others saying, hey, if the money is saving, ESPN is just waiting for you. They'll dump Lee Corsos in a heartbeat, and there you go, with even more money. But it's never been about money for Saban. What I guess most of his life, as far as coaching goes, it's not money. It never has. It hasn't been hardly. Right now, he's doing what he really enjoys, which is he's getting a chance to really teach the team.
Yes,
because this team is such a work in progress, and he's doing more teaching than he's done in forever.
100%.
There's no polished Bryce.
Yeah.
Or there's no Mac Jones who's been there forever, and now he knows the system coming and going. There's no, you got none of that.
Yeah.
Then he's just enjoying it right now. So,
and I think,
okay,
and
keep talking.
And I think that's added like more opportunities for him to coach. That's what he wants to do. Like, he's into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, he's into mentorship because he mentors other coaches. That's why they call it like the rehab program. Because when other grown men come into the program, look, men need mentorship no matter what age they are, right? And I think that when he's able to provide kind of that wisdom and outlook, I look at some of the coaches that have come in, after having losing seasons or after going through hardships within their life, like we all do, and they come into Coach Saban's program for that mentorship, for that type of leadership, for that type of structure, and then they go off and they land these major jobs because now they have a little bit of the philosophy that Coach Saban has, and other programs want that 100%. I mean, I pick, like, me personally, I think I have even grown, honestly, from listening to all the Coach Saban's messages. I listen to him. I mean, there's a lot of messages that he sends in from like a business perspective that I'm like, man, I'm going to try to imply that as well. Because, look, you're listening to one of the greatest leaders that we have. This is true, probably in our country. I mean, this guy, and this isn't like Homer, like this guy has it done. And this guy has it down, and he's leading this program in a lot of different phases. And like I said, I can't even imagine, his schedule during this time of year. What else are your thoughts, Robert, when we look to the Rose Bowl and kind of this matchup, things floating around with the sign stealing or George Hilo being added to the team? I mean, what else is kind of your take on the upcoming Rose Bowl, which will be on the 1st of 2024?
Well, I think all the haters have talked Michigan into a world-class butt whooping by by Alabama with all the talk that they've, you don't need to be there, blah, 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 deserving teams, blah, blah, blah. And it's so I think they've talked Michigan into getting their butts kicked. Now, not Michigan, they have said much or anything, but the Michigan fans and the Alabama haters really have talked it in Michigan to getting their butt whipped. And I think we need to move on beyond the length, because the naysayers are not hardly there anymore. So you can't feed off of them, but you can always feed off the haters, because the haters will hate Alabama forever. There's plenty of them. So let's shut up. Let's focus on shutting up the haters. The naysayers, there's not many of those left. But the haters, plenty of them. So let's focus on this, shutting them up. All right, buddy. I'll catch you later.
All right. Take it easy, Robert. All right, Robert, one of our good callers down from Mobile, Alabama. Robert's been calling in, I think Robert's been calling in for like 5 years, honestly. So I really appreciate the support, man. It's been really good to get to know a lot of the callers that have called in regularly and kind of build up the program. But we got 3 callers next I think these are all first-time callers, a 304-661 and a 401. Here, let's do this at 304 right now. Hey, thanks for calling into the show. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Daniel, and right now I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, what's up, Daniel? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show. Hope you're having a great Tuesday, man. And with that said, man, take it away.
Yeah, dude, a great Tuesday. Driving down the road, and my big truck. I was actually got commented last week that I was in Colorado. I come through New Mexico, up into Utah, through Wyoming, back down to Colorado, and back home to West Virginia where I live.
Yep.
But anyways, about football, dude. I think this Michigan defense has really been inflated over what they are. If you look at the offenses that they've played throughout the year, I think the best offense they've played so far is Ohio State. And they only rush for like 144 yards a game, which is, I think that's like 74th in the country. I think their passing offense is probably one of the best, but it's still like 25th. And I know, if you're looking at us nationally, maybe they don't rank us as high as some of these others. I understand sacks go into the rushing yards. I don't think a lot of people get that. Because they're like, well, Alabama only rushed for this many yards. Milroe also got sacked like 2-3 times. You gotta take that into account.
Yeah.
But I really think they've been overinflated. And I'm not saying that they're not good. Harbaugh's obviously a good coach. He turned Stanford around when he was there. He's coached good. At the highest level there in San Francisco, and obviously has done very well at Michigan, but I really feel like they're inflated, and I don't think they've faced an offense like ours. And like the one caller said, Jimbo Fisher had said, the speed dynamic.
Yeah.
I didn't really see anything out of the Big Ten this year that just blew me away out of any team I watched. And my wife and her family's all Penn State fans. She's from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Most of my family's all Michigan fans, so I keep up with those teams. And I haven't seen anything from them. Not like what we have in the SEC and not like what Alabama has had to face. If you look at their record, we're 4-1 against teams in the top 25, and I think 1-1 against teams in the top 5. You know, that one loss being to Texas in the second week of the season, which we're obviously way better than we were back then. And I'll be honest, I'm going to ask you how you feel about this. I'm really hoping for a rematch against Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking that's going to be the eventual matchup for the national title in Houston. And I think, you know, some of the things that when I look to Michigan, and I think a lot of people, when they look to Michigan, they look at the large majority of their schedule. And I think it was a really light schedule. And I don't think you can really disagree with that. I think that Georgia, for the most part, played a light schedule as well before going on. They went on like a 3-game gauntlet before they played Alabama, minus the Georgia Tech game. And a lot of people were questioning their schedule as well. And I think that really comes into play. And we talked about this yesterday on the show. Which team is more battle tested during the season? Is it Alabama or is it Michigan? I think 1,000,000% Alabama. I don't think that's been homerish. I mean, I think those are absolute facts. I mean, Alabama's defense, if anybody has been battle tested, it's been them. If anybody has been battle tested mentally in terms of can you do it, it's been Jalen Milroe. It's been the overall team. Because this is the first year I have loved it so much that Alabama's really had like naysayers or adversity or people that felt that they can't win or the Vegas lines haven't been in their favor. I mean, every single year for the most part, you know that Alabama is just going to be the brakes off everybody. This hasn't really been that year. I mean, I felt that this team, I mean, go back and watch some of my videos. I've been calling for this team to get to this point of the season. But with Michigan, I mean, they really didn't play their first, tough game, I guess, Penn State, if you want to label that, until November. So when you haven't faced that grind, when you haven't faced kind of those gauntlets, and I get it, at Division I, it's kind of all a gauntlet or whatever. But I mean, Iowa, it's not going to get you ready for a game like this. I mean, Iowa has zero speed. They're almost the complete opposite of Alabama, right? So this is going to be a major.
They can't pass the ball through the air to save their life.
100%. Yeah. So I think that's going to be a really big wake up call.
Defensively, Iowa is probably one of the best defensive teams in the country and always will be. And Iowa has had those teams before where, like, you kind of will overlook them because, like, well, they're not that great, and then they'll knock somebody off.
Yeah.
But this year they ain't been that way at all. And you got Rutgers. Like, when was the last time Rutgers has been relevant, And Minnesota, like, they haven't been a great team since the 30s when they won 3 national championships. I think that was back in 35, 36, and 37, which none of us are listening to your show or calling in. We're live back then.
Yeah.
So we've never seen Minnesota in any relevance. Wisconsin, they're okay every once in a while. I mean, you're absolutely right. They faced nobody all year, and even the Penn State game. As far as offense goes, that's not a game that you're like, oh, they got a potential way of, moving the ball through the air or maybe moving the ball on the ground. They're a defensive team, and I don't know what it is with Franklin. It seems to he's like a tortoise. He goes into a shell when he plays teams like that, It's like he gets scared. He makes poor clock management. It's almost like a layup for teams like Michigan or Ohio State when it comes to that kind of stuff, And I think you're absolutely right. I don't think anybody besides maybe Washington has been battle tested like Alabama this year. It's been astounding to watch. I told my wife that, with the same thing you said. This has been one of the most exciting seasons I've watched Alabama play since I can remember, because every game you're on the edge of your seat. Like, are we going to be able to win this one? Are we going to pull this off? And there's a few where we really pulled away, like Kentucky. That was never in, question. But a lot of them, man, they were kind of down to the wire, and but Milroe and the guys found a way to do it. The defense stepped up every time, and like you said about Caleb Downs, I have a Minka Fitzpatrick jersey at the house.
Yeah.
I told my wife I bought one because I said there'll never be another Minka Fitzpatrick. The dude was phenomenal. Then Caleb Downs comes in this year, and it's like, whoa, where did this dude come from? Now I got to buy a Downs jersey. So, dude, this team is so exciting to watch, and then you got Kool-Aid McKinstry on the other side, and it's not Amos, it's my mind just went blank.
Terran Arnold.
But Darren Arnold, then you got Dallas Turner on the edge rush, and I mean, look, our middle is not. I heard the guy saying just the other day, well, the middle of their interior of their defensive line is not that good. Like, what team are you watching, dude? Because our interior is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
The only way that Auburn was able to run on us was running all those misdirections and a lot of window dressing and eye candy and all that. And kind of got our linebackers' eyes off in different areas, and ran away from our interior guys. You watch Georgia. Anytime they tried to run up the middle, stopped. Anytime they tried to run to the outside, because we kind of buttoned that stuff up, that was stopped. And I think it's going to be the same way against Michigan,
Yeah.
I don't think that Blake Corum's going to have the running game that he normally has. And I don't think Edwards is going to have the running game that he normally has. And I think J.J. McCarthy better bring a mattress with him because he's going to have to get real comfortable on the ground.
Oh, man. Daniel, I appreciate the call, man, from Nashville. Good context, man, and I'm with you, man. I think Alabama's defense, I mean, what they showed in terms of stopping, stuff to the outside, up the middle against Georgia was really impressive, especially on 3rd and short. I thought that was one of the deciding factors in that game was Alabama's ability to stop Georgia in critical down and distance situations, which, Alabama's been able to do. But on 3rd and short, you got to get, the punting unit on, and Alabama really did that. I mean, this defense is playing at an ultra high level, and you're right. You make a really good point about the interior line. One of the players that I think has probably been underrated along with Jaden Roberts on the offensive side of the ball is probably Tim Keenan. And I think, we highlighted him yesterday a little bit, but he's playing at an ultra high level. I think when you come into this season, you were talking about Jaheim Otis, who's had a pretty good season for the most part, but I think, honestly, Tim Keenan has been one of those guys in the interior that has really, really impressed. And then, of course, Justin Ebogbe, who graduated just recently from the University of Alabama. Guy's been playing some amazing football. I think he's played in over 52 games now throughout his career. So, yeah, that defensive line coming with it for sure. Anything else, Daniel, before I move on?
No, I think that's about it. I'm hoping Jason McClellan's healthy.
Yep.
Coming into this game, he's really been a great workhorse for us. Roy Dell Williams, of course, he's a little bit more of that power. The one thing, though, that you did say earlier to a caller, and I like, as soon as you said it, it came to mind, Jam Miller, bowling ball. Like, the dude is just, I can't wait to see him. And, our other running backs coming into the next year, I think we're going to have another great stable of running backs. I'm just excited, not only for this, how the season's going to end, but what's coming next year. So, and that's really all I've got for you, man.
All right, man. Call in again, Daniel. I really appreciate, the dialogue for sure, man. So call in again. I'm online, as you know, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. So anytime you want to call in, man, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
All right, roll Tide to you, man. Daniel calling out in Nashville. We got a 661, a 404, and a 205 coming up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys' continued support right here on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for supporting the content and the coverage. 98,000 strong right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Remember, tomorrow is National Signing Day. To give you a peek, this is kind of a graphic that we will have, and this will be updated throughout the day. The guys on the left, they will get a check mark as they are officially signed. We will track the national headlines. I am planning to be on live every single hour on the hour. So, for example, show starts at 8 a.m., open up the show at 8 a.m., then back at 9, and kind of as news happens. And, of course, if Edric Houston is streaming to his Instagram channel or something like that, we will bring those type of events right here to Bama Football on YouTube. So that's kind of a preview of what we got coming tomorrow on Wednesday, December 20th. Remember, you can stick with us during our signing day coverage. Alabama ranked number 2 right now in the recruiting rankings, and have a really good feeling that Alabama's going to finish out the day number 1, which would just be another, kind of a topping onto this season. You're like, really? This team, this Alabama team that everybody gave up on is going to finish number 1 in the recruiting rankings as well? That Bama fatigue, people are going to be pissed off for sure at the end of the day tomorrow, I think. All right, 661, let's do it. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who are you on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Kyle, Quincy Moran calling in from Fort Worth, Texas. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, I appreciate it, man. You say Quincy?
Quincy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you very much for calling from Texas, man. Welcome to the show, man. Take it away.
So much to talk about on this particular show, but one of the things that really sparks my interest is when we're talking about Saban and how many people. I'm like you. I wish we had a real of back-to-back commentators and even Bama fans talking about how he's done, how he's washed up, how he needs to retire. And it's things like that that just make you laugh. And I was talking to, my brother shout out to my brother Josh, who introduced me to your show. And we have a little scrappy family podcast that we do about Bama sports and whatnot. And we were talking on there, and it was like, Saban's done. He needs to retire. He's getting old. It's over. And I'm like, hey, listen, we've seen Saban reinvent himself from time to time,
yeah.
The air raid offense or when they're stretching the field. And I said, look, I don't believe he's done. I think, just like the time where he was talking about too many plays and, really stretching the field out and getting that hurry up offense out of the way, he had to reinvent himself and bring a new brand of defense to Alabama. And it took him a little bit of time. And I said, hey, I think 3 to 5 years and Saban again will level set himself and he'll be able to, bring a team to the table. And looking at where we were, after that Texas game and that Florida game, it was like, holy cow, man, this looks tough, but I didn't give up on him. So now looking at where we are, it's like, dude, how can you represent yourself as the GOAT any more than you already have? I mean, after the Florida game, we're like, man, I hope we win 8 games this year, and then somehow the team gets transformed, and we're sitting in the playoffs. It's the wildest thing, dude. But yeah, kudos to you for staying on the Saban train. It's funny.
I'm never getting off ever. There was this clip though that I always think about. I'm sure you guys saw it. It was on AL.com's channel. So it was after. So I went down to Tampa to go watch them play South Florida. And the weather for that game couldn't have been any worse. Like, it was just terrible, and it rained. There was a game delay, if you guys remember. Remember, like, the TV broadcast was even, like, all zoomed out? Like, it was just, like, the day wasn't going – the day sucked. Like, things were just going wrong. Like, one of those days happens. It's just that's how life is. But there was this clip of the game had been paused because of lightning or whatever. And they're soaking wet. And they have this footage of Coach Saban walking back into the locker room, and he looked like, gallons and gallons of water had been dumped on him. He looked like a troll or something. It was the worst I'd ever seen him look. And the game was like then tied at halftime and stuff. So you're right. Like, to be able to continue to push through and have this metamorphosis with this team is just crazy to me. That's why I don't know if people can really appreciate this. I don't even know if we can, but what we're seeing right now, Jarvis you agree, which picture I'm talking about, man. Like, he looked bad. I was like, man, is this it? It's like he done after this game. That was crazy. But to see kind of that transformation has been really amazing. What else you got, Quincy?
Yeah, it's wild because you look, I coached football when I lived out in California. I coached high school football for almost 10 years. And Coach Saban forgot more yesterday than I know, period, when it comes to football. But to see what he's done with the players, the transformation, the attrition rate of the coaches and the players going to the pros and transferring out, it just seemed like he needed a little bit more time, because I think our college football game has become a lot more like the pro game with free agency. So I think it's a true testament to his fortitude. I never saw his face look like he was worried on the sideline. But yeah, and then getting Miss Terry involved in what I call, the day he was on the sideline with the blood vessels in his eyes, calling him Red Saban. So we just needed Red Saban to emerge, and it looks like it's come full circle. But kudos to you. One thing I want to do, I run a marriage podcast and whatnot, and I do it as a passion project. But what you're doing for us, the Bama football fans, is what caused me. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of lonely work. It's a lot of time and effort. So I just want to give you kudos for what you do. It's what you do because I'm so passionate about the game, and you bring it to us, the fan base, in your own unique way. So thank you for doing that. And, I want to talk to my fellow Bama fans out there and say, join me and become a fan funder and really support the great work that Kyle is doing. Thanks for giving us a platform to get on and talk Bama football like you do. So kudos, my brother. Really, really appreciate the work you're doing.
Yeah, appreciate that, Quincy. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate the continued support, and thanks for being a fan funder, man. I'll catch up with you next time, and thanks for calling in to chat, man. Appreciate it.
You got it, man. Have a great one. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you, man. All right. I got a 404. This will be my last caller coming up next, but I am, in case you missed it, I'm in New Mexico all this week visiting family during the holidays. I know it's a busy time of year, but it's something. Since I live in Tuscaloosa, getting back to see like my mom, my dad, my brothers, and I have kids. I got to see their grandparents. So I'm working remote from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and then I will leave from here to Pasadena on the 27th. So you'll have coverage coming out from Pasadena. I will have my show from Pasadena as well as a lot of coverage. So I was looking at the media schedule, and some of the availabilities are at 8 a.m., and that is Pacific time. So I'm going to kind of, format the show based on, different media opportunities that I have. But, there's going to be tons of coverage coming from Pasadena. I've actually never been in the Rose Bowl. I lived in Los Angeles, for a couple years, early in my career. But I never made it over to Pasadena or the Rose Bowl. I just didn't. So I'm really looking forward to getting out there. I know it's one of the most iconic venues in the country. So I'll be out there. What's up, Deontay? I see you inside the comment box, man. Thanks for joining us today. And to everybody out there in the comment box, I appreciate you. Alex, I see you. And, of course, Mike, our Michigan fan, thanks for being here. Fire Dog, man, thanks for the support today on the channel. All right, 404, let's do it. All right, hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with him? Where are you calling in from?
Hey, morning, Kyle. This is Al from Georgia. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, what's up, Al? I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for calling in, man. I always appreciate rapping with you, man. Thanks for being patient on the line, and thanks for calling in today on this fine Tuesday, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate you, man. You're such a gracious host, and I couldn't agree with Quincy more. I was just sitting here listening into the show when he was commenting, and before I was thinking how tirelessly you work, to provide such high quality material. This is your life, and you see people doing what they are built and designed to do, and you're doing that. You do it effortlessly, and you do it with such grace, and how you handle us, your callers, the people, the fan base. Some people are unruly. You still deal with them with dignity and grace. So, I appreciate you. I'm from Tuscaloosa, born and raised. I live here in Georgia. Lived in California. I lived all over the country with my career, and had the opportunity to participate as a community coach for 18 years, to coach young men all the way up from little ones to high schoolers, and the guys that are playing on Sundays. That I could just rattle off a list of them. But the main thing is to be a mentor.
For sure.
Is to talk about something bigger than the sport, and how you become better in terms of your character. And I love that about our coach. People talking about him getting old and everything. So I just pulled something up that a lot of people are not aware of. I mean, let me run off some names to you here. Joe Cox.
Yep.
Tommy Reese.
Yep.
Robert Gillespie.
Yep.
Freddie Roach.
Yep.
Tavares Robinson.
Yep.
Holloman Wiggins.
Yep.
These guys are probably less than 40 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe Cox, people don't understand, he's one of the great minds in football. And Nick Saban will say that over and again.
Wow.
The staff that he's putting together, okay, the staff that coaches putting together is phenomenal. I mean, he's getting ready to go on a run. And all these guys are young.
Yeah.
And they're buying into what he's doing. So I look at it a little bit different, Kyle. I just don't get caught up. You know what I mean? And so you allow us to come on and express these views. And I just want to kind of put a little bit different spin to it for our fan base, because we kind of like in an echo chamber because we're talking Bama football, right?
Yeah.
I watch a lot of film outside of Bama football, just like the coaches show, just like Smook and those guys. We always because we want them to understand who we really are. And to do that, you have to self-scout and pick at your warts. You know what I mean? So I love what he's doing with this class and last year's class. Okay. And the guy who's picking up on that is the guy over in Athens.
Yeah.
Kirby's picking up on that too, because the game is one up front. If you look at our talent that we're putting in up front in this last year's class and this year's class,
Yep.
and you sprinkle in the right skill guys with the staff to develop them, that's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary. I mean, that was the point I wanted to bring out today, really. I mean, we're getting ready to go on a run, an epic run. Saban's age, I don't think it's a factor, because look at the staff I just reeled off.
Yeah, and I think kind of to leapfrog onto what you're saying, it is a really young staff, and I think I don't know if that's important or not, but it's facts. And you look to what he did on the defensive side, adding Kevin Steele, kind of another mentor to look over some of these younger guys on the defensive side of the ball to keep that Bama standard mentality going right on the defensive side. And I love when Kevin Steele first got here. I should upload it. He said, look, the Bama standard never went anywhere. He was like, it may have changed and things may have, basically there may have been a different defensive coordinator, but he's like, the overall philosophy didn't change. And boy, did he install that back, because this defense has been incredible this year, and it changed from the get-go, like from the jump. So having these, like, and I think you're right. Like, people are saying that Tommy Rees was going to leave or that Indiana had contacted him. I'm sure that these guys get different offers from different programs. And these guys aren't going to be here forever, because you move on throughout your career. But for a guy like Tommy Rees, I can't even imagine the opportunity to be 31 years old and to be able to be the offensive coordinator at Alabama and to be able to work next to Nick Saban along with all of these 5-stars. I mean, think about the coach that he's going to be going forward. So if he can just sit tight, learn, and absorb, all the better. I mean, Freddie Roach is a guy that a lot of people harp on that recruiting. I mean, he just helped land Jay Sean Robinson. He's on the mix to, land, the Houston kid. So, look, all these guys, I think you hit the nail on the head, and Coach Saban loves it. I mean, he loves the mentorship from the coaches, kind of being that CEO, and it translates over into his players that he has. And look, and the thing about it, like Tom Milrow inside the comment box is bringing up, like, Pete Golding, Coach Saban did everything possible. He stood behind Pete Golding until the very, very end. He really did. And I think finally when a spot came up, and, and I don't know. I mean, I think, the offense, because I do think back that the defense is probably a reason why Alabama probably doesn't have another title or two, to be honest. I really do.
100%.
Right, 100%. And I think, when you look back, and Saban's not perfect. I mean, there's a couple of things that I don't even agree with that Saban did. I don't think that the quarterback job in the beginning, kind of like dividing people, I didn't agree with that. But he's not perfect, right? I don't agree with the fact that he kept on Pete Golding, but I agree with the way that he's been able to transform this team and how he's able to. And that's what we do in life, kind of getting back to the mentorship. Like, if things aren't going well, we have to step back. We have to become observant and do self-assessing what is happening with ourselves or with our team, and then make changes. And that's something that he's been able to do because he's a master of human behavior. What else you got, Al, as we kind of turn the page towards this Rose Bowl?
Let's talk about it a little bit. A lot of our fans, a lot of us, we talk about Michigan and, who Michigan hasn't played and that, the other, I just remember, years of preparing my teams and coaches and stuff like that. We were so into us and being sound in what we do. When we play a team that's inferior, guess what? We're supposed to be like a boa constrictor around them. I mean, my coaches would get mad at me because we're up on guys 40-0. I'm going, we're into the fourth quarter, and I'm going nuts. Why are we letting up? You know what I mean? I want to pulverize you. I want to beat you, so you don't want to play us no more. So an inferior team, I'm supposed to absolutely destroy you. So here's the thing with Michigan. Michigan is sound. The key for us is getting up a couple scores and making them play from behind to adjust to our speed. Because they're going to get in what they do defensively, and they're going to do it. Okay, so I think we're a better team. But I don't underestimate anybody. Because they got athletes. They got pride. They're Division I. They got great coaching staff. They got great preparation. Otherwise, they wouldn't be undefeated. So to me, I think for us, the key is to jump out on them. I mean, come out and just jump on them. If we do that, I think we got them because they're not built to play from behind.
Yep.
But don't underestimate this team. It's soft. We can't turn the ball over. We can't do stupid stuff, jumping offside and penalties. We can't do that stuff early. We got to come in and be sound. Both sides of the ball. They're going to take shots deep. They're going to go at keys. I promise you they're going to go at it. They're going to try to go deep. They're going to try to give us something to think about so we can't load the box up and let them do what they do. They're going to change it up. So don't go in thinking that, they hadn't played anybody and we're battle tested and we're just going to run all over. No. Yeah, I think we beat them, yeah. Okay, but these guys are sound. I just caution everybody, hey, pump the brakes a little bit now. Get out of the echo chamber and go look at some of Michigan's tape. Just go look at some of Michigan's tape. Yeah, you're supposed to beat Rutgers. You're supposed to beat people like that, and yeah, you're going to have some close games and stuff like that, but I don't underestimate this opponent. We're going to beat them, yeah, but I don't underestimate them one bit. Mm-hmm. That's what I think about that. The other piece is Washington, Texas. People don't realize that Washington's offensive coordinator, Saban wanted him this year.
That was the guy, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he wanted him this year. So the key to Texas is this. Because, years ago I started out, we were doing the West Coast thing, we were scripting plays and stuff, and the key is the first opening script. Sark is the master of that. If you can get Sark off of his script and get them out of their game, you got a shot. Mm-hmm. But if you can't, that means he scouted you. He got stuff. He's going to dial up on you in the first half. In the second half that you haven't seen, that's going to be these shot plays. That's what he did to us. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, to me, I think that a lot of people are underestimating Washington because their OC is just as, I think he got some game for Texas. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, that game, it could be surprisingly shocking. I'm not a Washington guy, but Saban didn't want this guy for nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, that legitimately went down. Like the guy flew to Tuscaloosa. I think he was certainly offered the OC job, and I think he turned it down clearly. And then when Coach Saban got Tommy, people were like, "Oh, that was like the third or fourth option, that they brought in." But man, Tommy certainly grew up, and and look. We were hard on Tommy, and rightfully so. And we have the right to be critical on, people who aren't performing or, trying to get things going. Right. And I think all of us harped on. I did. There was some times where you're just like, what is happening? But he's been able to become really creative. And I look forward to this game plan against the Rose Bowl. And I'm still curious to how they use like a player like Kendrick Law. Because as you guys know, as we talk about, I'm a 49er fan. And like they use, some of the creative ways that they're able to use all their wide receivers is really crazy. It's just remarkable. Yeah, so I'm with you on that, though.
Well, I think we do to Michigan a lot of what you start seeing Tommy do down the stretch with us. We started putting a little bit more movement to our offense, a little bit more motion, and I think that was to help the quarterback, too. To give him some better pre-snap looks and making sure that they don't change it up on him after the snap. And I think we move Michigan around and get them defending the whole field. We can stretch it vertically. And I think we use our speed to the edge because, in the middle, I think they're pretty good, especially with their stunts and twists and stuff in their games. They're pretty solid with there. So I think we had a little eye candy. We can do that now, okay? So, and I think that's going to allow them to. And one thing I would love to see us do is to move the pocket. If we move Miro around and move him outside the tackle box and get him on the run and get him on the edge, and what that does with Michigan, that creates holes in their defensive back end. Mm-hmm. And they're not used to playing a guy like that. So when he approaches the line, guess what happens? They come up to stop him. He's going over the top. That's what's going to happen. So instead of just taking Miro and put him on a 3-step drop, and he's been there all year long, I would like to see us self-scout and change that up to move him outside a little bit, get him on the edge, and make him more of a factor in the whole game. Because I think one of the guys talked about, he was in the chat earlier, talking about how long Miro holds the ball. And I mentioned to him, hey, have you seen how long Lamar Jackson holds the ball? Okay, how he makes plays. I mean, by the fourth quarter, man, defensive linemen are dead tired chasing this guy. I think we use him as a weapon to unleash on Michigan, man, and have that tongues dragging in the fourth quarter, man, and we run away and beat them by 3 touchdowns. That's me. I got a guy like that. I'm gonna make you chase him all over. Okay, I'm gonna make him drive you nuts. I'm not gonna let him be a statue.
And I think and I think if you're gonna hold the ball, I think that's better than forcing a bad ball, right? I mean, don't turn over the ball, because I think he understands too. Like, he has an incredible, weapon, and that's his legs. So even or an ability just to make plays. So even if it's like a 3rd and 12, you take that over an interception or whatever. So I think the Georgia game was probably a game where he took a couple sacks, or he wasn't overly accurate, but at the same point, he didn't. How many forced balls did he throw? Like, he didn't turn over the football, and that was the difference. Right. Georgia turned the football over, and they missed a field goal. It comes down to execution. That's why Alabama's here, and going for the Rose Bowl. But hey, Al, I'm gonna end the show now, man. But I appreciate you calling in. It's always good to rap with you, man. I love the fact that you're always into the mentorship, and I know you're always about the Proverbs, man. So thank you very much for your positivity, and thank you very much for your contribution, man. And I really enjoy catching up with you, man.
All right, Kyle. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and God bless everybody in the Bama Nation.
Yeah, absolutely, too, man. Merry Christmas. I'm sure I'll talk to you before then, man. But anyways, Merry Christmas to you, Al.
No doubt.
Appreciate it, man. See you, buddy.
No
All
doubt.
Right, Al calling in from Georgia by way of beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. All right, fam, my name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys joining me. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Today was a signing day preview. We got a big day coming up on Wednesday, December 20th. You got an action-packed day as Alabama looks to leapfrog from number 2 to number 1 in the college football recruiting rankings, and we will keep you posted on all the signees as they sign their official paperwork and get early enrolled to the University of Alabama, and as we gear towards the Rose Bowl, and we will have coverage right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I'm in New Mexico, en route to Pasadena. Can't wait to get out there and provide Rose Bowl coverage to you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. 98,000 subscribers. Let's get to 99, and let's get to 100,000 subscribers right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe on live as news happens every single day, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And, of course, you can catch me on the YouTube Shorts or just regular videos right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Appreciate all the calls today and the contributions, and I'll catch you next time right here on Bama Football on YouTube.